What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and today we're going to be talking about some Winnipeg Jets prospects. Some bigger names, some names that, maybe don't get talked about enough, but we are going to be talking about them today. Currently, the Jets are playing in the Young Stars tournament over in BC. They've got names like Braden Lambert, Nikita Chibrikov, two guys we'll talk about in this video, but I'm going to be talking about these prospects individually and just break down kind of what I think of them and where I see their NHL future going and how they can help the Jets in the future. So without further ado, let's get on into this one. We're going to start off with the newest Jets prospect, Braden Jagger, traded of course in the Rucker-McGroarty move. He comes in at 19 years old, a centerman, 5'11", listed at around 180. He was a first round pick by the Pittsburgh Penguins, 14th overall in the 2023 NHL draft. I really like Braden Jagger. He's one of those quick, shifty forwards. He's a great playmaker. He's been developing a shot now too. I don't know. There's a lot to like about him here. Pretty defensively responsible at 19. Of course, it will get better. Currently playing with the Moose Jaw Warriors. I don't anticipate him being a Winnipeg Jet this season unless he has some insane camp. But again, I don't think that's going to be the case. I think a couple years he'll be a Jet, and I think he'll be a pretty good one. I see him kind of just as a middle six forward kind of thing, probably closer to a higher end second line forward if I had to make a prediction on him. But a lot of people are really high on him. A lot of scouts say that, yeah, he's going to be one of those guys that breaks out. He's going to be a first line forward in his NHL career. So we'll see if that happens. One thing to note as well, Braden Jagger likely going to be at the World Juniors for Canada, probably even wearing an A or a C, so we'll see what happens with him there, but he should be a big time contributor to Team Canada at the World Junior Hockey Championships. Us as Jet fans, we don't really see a lot of Canadians play that are Jets prospects anyway. I think the last one was Cole Perfetti, but yeah, so it should be pretty cool seeing Braden Jagger there. But I really do like Braden Jagger, and I think we got a good one here. I don't think the Rucker-McGroarty trade is as lopsided as a lot of people say it is. I think it's actually very fair. We'll see how their careers go, but Braden Jagger is going to do great things, and I think that he's going to be beloved here in Winnipeg. Next up here, we have Elias Salamonson, Manitoba Moose defenseman, a right shot defenseman, the Jets' #1 D prospect in the system, and he's going to be a good one, guys. He's currently 20 years old, 6'2", listed at 185. He was a second round pick, 55th overall by the Jets in the 2022 NHL draft. This draft pick was acquired in the Andrew Copp trade, and it ended up being Elias Salamonson, and at the time, not a lot of people made a lot of noise about him. He was pretty young when the Jets drafted him, wasn't even 18 yet, and he has flourished over there in Sweden into an absolute monster, a really responsible puck-moving defenseman with some offensive upside. Keep in mind, too, in Sweden, he's playing against men, he's playing against pros, he's playing against some veterans, right? And he's still showing out. He's still playing really, really good hockey for an 18, 19, 20-year-old, now 20 years old. He's signed. He's going to be with the Manitoba Moose more than likely. I know there is, that shot that he could make the team, as the defense lost Brendan Dillon. They lost Nate Schmidt this offseason, so there are openings, but I do expect them to be filled by guys like Ville Heinola, Colin Miller. That's probably going to be the bottom pair. Logan Stanley likely to be the 7th, I'd have to imagine. And then from there, you've got some other veterans in front of Salamonson. I think that he's going to be, focused in the AHL this year to grow, to get used to the North American game. I don't think that he'll have much of a problem doing it. He does need some polishing. I don't think he's NHL ready just yet, but I do think he's going to be a very, very, very good defenseman, at least a top 4 guy, but I do think that he could be a complementary pairing to a #1 defenseman like a Josh Morrissey maybe in the future here, maybe as early as next year. Next up, we're going to be talking about the Jets' #1 prospect right now, and that is Brad Lambert, center for the Manitoba Moose, but maybe center for the Winnipeg Jets after training camp. We'll have to see. But right now, he's 20 years old, listed at 6 foot, about 185, drafted in the first round, 30th overall in the 2022 NHL draft. Once again, that pick was included in the Andrew Copp trade, and I still can't believe that Lambert fell all the way to 30. But he is a beast. We know that here in Winnipeg. It's no secret what his skill set is. It is speed, it is playmaking, and he can shoot the puck, baby. He is going to be an awesome player for the Jets. And you can call me crazy, but I think Brad has some star potential here. I see a lot of people saying that, yeah, he's going to be like a really good second liner, maybe a low-end first liner, and I think that's pretty realistic, but I think there's a shot that he could break out. Ever since he moved to center, he has been a totally different player. He is such a good centerman, and thank God, because the Jets really have nothing in the center pool right now in terms of, blue chip prospects aside from Lambert and Jagger. And one of those guys is going to need to take over for Mark Scheifele as the 1C eventually here, because the Jets don't really have a plan outside of that. It'd be really cool for the organization if Lambert was able to take a step up and kind of be like the Wyatt Johnson of the Dallas Stars last season, if they could kind of put him in a position to succeed like that, play him with pros, play him with players that can, offensively contribute. I think Lambert will have a great year on the second line if they let him go, right? If he's playing with Nikolai Ehlers and Cole Perfetti, that's a deadly line. Look at the speed over there with Ehlers and him and the playmaking ability of Cole Perfetti. I think that line could be really fun, right? So we'll see what happens, but Brad Lambert, there's definitely an opportunity for you. Next up, we got Nikita Chibrikov, my favorite Jets prospect in the whole pool. I think this guy's dynamite, and I'm going to tell you why in just a minute, but let me run through it here. 21 years old, played for the Moose last season, listed at about 5'10", 175, drafted in the second round, 50th overall in the 2021 NHL draft. Fell all the way down there, was supposed to be a first-round prospect, but because of the whole Russian war situation going on, he did fall in that draft, and the Jets got very lucky that he was sitting there at 50. This guy is so fast, is so skilled, can shoot the puck, he can score. Played one game in the NHL at the end of the last season there. Of course, Brad Lambert getting that opportunity as well, but Chibrikov really flourished in that game. He looked confident. Of course, after that goal, big celebration. He looked like he was having fun out there. But one thing about Chibrikov that a lot of people overlook is how mean and tough this guy is. He goes into the corners, he digs them out. He goes up to, much bigger players and he lays them out. I went to so many Moose games last year specifically to watch Nikita Chibrikov, and not only was he scoring, was he setting up plays, was he flying out there, but he was stirring it up. He's a mouthpiece. He's awesome. And I don't know, he's everything you want in a forward that is a smaller player, because I know there's a stigma out there, smaller players don't like to get as physical, and that's true to an extent, but not Nikita Chibrikov. That guy is mean, he's tough, and he will lay you on your ass. I really like him. I think he's going to be a very good player in the NHL. I can see him being definitely a first-line player eventually with the speed, the skill, everything. I don't know if he's going to be a full-time NHLer this year. Maybe he's a mid-season addition or late-season addition to the team. But hey, you can't deny the skill that this guy has. I think he's going to be a very good forward, and he might just be the guy I get next on a jersey. The player we're going to talk about next is Chaz Lucius, another center prospect for the Moose. And, we barely got to see this guy play, really. 21 years old already. He was a first-round pick, 18th overall in the 2021 draft. The guy has so much skill, so much talent, but he is so breakable. And, I love Chaz so much. But at some point here, we got to be realistic. He has missed so much development due to injury, and it's really tough to see because when he did play in the AHL, he was putting up great numbers for, his age and everything like that. Again, playing against pros, playing against men, and he looked really damn good. In junior, every single level that he's played, he's looked really, really good, but he has just not played a lot of hockey in the last few years. So he's kind of a mystery to me. I don't think he's, really on the radar to make the Jets roster this year, despite being one of the older prospects here. But I do think it's extremely important that he comes out, has a year where he can stay healthy, he can play a full year in North America, and who knows, maybe he ends up being insane, maybe he ends up getting an NHL job, at some point in this season here. But I just find it, really just, tough right now for Chaz, because it just feels like he's gotten lapped by younger prospects like Chibrikov, like Lambert, and some other players even. But we'll see what happens with him. I do think there is a bright future for him if he can stay healthy, but he's gotta find a way to stay in the lineup, or I don't really know what's going to be happening with him. He might find his way out of the league. Next up here, we're going to be talking about Zach Nolan from the Nolan Hockey Podcast's favorite NHL prospect, Thomas Milich, Manitoba Moose starting goaltender this upcoming year, 21 years old, 6 foot, 180 pounds, definitely a smaller goaltender, but very athletic one. Drafted as an overager in the 5th round, 151st of the 2023 NHL Draft. This is a goaltender that I think could have a very bright future just because he is a winner, obviously winning a gold medal with Canada at the World Junior Hockey Championship. Played really, really well with the Seattle Thunderbirds, winning WHL Goaltender of the Year there just a season ago. He was really, really, really good. Started in the East Coast League last season, dominated the East Coast League, made his way to the AHL, made his way to pro hockey, and he took the starting job by season's end. Thomas Milich might just be that guy. He's a really good goaltender. Of course, Connor Hellebuyck is in front of him for a little while. I don't think Milich is anywhere near, NHL ready yet. I think he needs a couple more years at least. But I do think he's a guy to watch because I think he could be on an NHL club very, very, very soon. Maybe he's used as a trade piece in the future. But if he's not and Hellebuyck, hangs it up in the future there, I think he can take over for sure. I think he's got a bright future. We'll see how high that ceiling truly is. With goaltenders, it is impossible to predict. But Milich is one of those guys that is just, something about him. He's got that chip on his shoulder. He wins hockey games. He's a very good goaltender. So we'll see what he does in the AHL this season. He'll be mentored likely by Eric Comrie. I think that's kind of the plan with the Moose. And can't really have a better mentor than that because, Comrie knows his way around the league. And the last player that we're going to be talking about in this video is Kobe Barlo. In the graphic, it says that he plays for the Moose Jaw Warriors. Ignore that. He does not play for the Moose Jaw Warriors. He plays for the Owen Sound Attack. But yes, a left winger, 19 years old, 6'1", 195, looks like he's 30, drafted in the 1st round, 18th overall by Winnipeg in 2023. He is a very, very scary offensive player. Barlo can shoot the puck like no other. And that's his whole thing. He's going to be a power play monster one day in the NHL. I do believe that. He's not the fastest skater in the world, but he is big. He is tough. He can shoot the puck. Not a bad playmaker also. Set up Dmitry Kuzmin for the overtime winner there in the 1st game of the Young Stars tournament. Barlo definitely does need to round out his game though, as with 40 goals, that's great, but just 18 assists, you really want to see that improve a little bit. You want to see him be more of a playmaker, so I think that's something you can work on for sure. Maybe a little bit more of a motor from him, but I do think he'll be a good NHL player. I am not super high on Kobe Barlo. I think he's kind of, a question mark. Maybe he's a trade piece in the future that, if I was the GM, I'd consider just because of the, mystery around what he could be. But he does have a high ceiling. He does have a low floor. So we'll see how he, ends up coming out here. But I kind of see middle 6 scoring forward for his career currently. Maybe he breaks out this year and, different story next time we talk about him. But Kobe Barlo, interesting prospect nonetheless. But that's all I got today, guys. I just wanted to talk about some of the Jets prospects that are, closer to NHL ready. I know there's a lot of other prospects that are very intriguing that I might talk about a different time. Might make a, full video on themselves just because they are a little bit less known, like Jacob Julian, like Kieran Walton, Alphonse Frey. There's a lot of them that I could be talking about. Maybe I'll get on that before the season starts this season. But, definitely a deeper pool here in Winnipeg. I think an underrated class. And some guys that I think could step in very soon, like Lambert, like Chibrikov, and even Salamonson. So we'll see what happens, going forward here. But that's all I got today, guys. Leave a comment down below. Who was your favorite Jets prospect? Who are you most excited to see in preseason? I want to hear from you guys down below. But that's all I got. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. See you guys in the next one. Go Jets, go. Bye-bye.